The last taste of home. Once upon a time, in a world that was moving far too fast, there lived two distinct souls in a quiet sanctuary, a gentle red panda named Pip and a massive, soulful giant panda named Bao. They were the last of their kind in this small corner of the world, brought together by fate, but separated by their own silent, unshared grief. Pip spent most of his days sitting high up on an old wooden log, keeping his head bowed and staring blankly at his tiny paws. To the visitors passing by, he looked incredibly adorable, but inside, his little heart carried an unbearable weight. Every time he picked up a small green leaf, his mind drifted back to the misty, boundless forests of his childhood, the home he was taken from so long ago. He would slowly chew on the bamboo leaves, not out of hunger, but simply to hold on to the fading memory of his mother's warmth, though each bite tasted less like food and more like a distant, unreachable past. Sometimes, a sudden spark of hope would cross Pip's mind, breaking his deep sadness for just a moment. He would stand up on his hind legs, stretching his small arms high into the air as if reaching for something invisible in the sky. He would balance carefully on the narrow wooden beams of his enclosure, looking out past the heavy metal fences, climbing to the highest points he could find. He hoped that if he reached high enough, he might catch a glimpse of the snow-capped mountains of his homeland, but every single time, reality pulled him back down. The fences were always too high, the world outside was completely unfamiliar, and his small hands could only grasp the empty, cold air. On the other side of the sanctuary sat Bao, the giant panda, who was large and strong yet possessed the most fragile spirit. Bao would sit on the hard ground for hours, surrounded by piles of empty bamboo stalks, his heavy, slow movements showing the deep exhaustion in his soul. He peeled the rough bark with his teeth,
searching for comfort in the same daily routine, where every sharp crack of the bamboo sounded like a silent sigh of loneliness echoing through his quiet enclosure. He had plenty of food to eat, but no one to share his space with, and no one who understood the silent language of his heartbreak. As the afternoon sun began to fade, Bao would lean his heavy back against the cold stone walls, completely overwhelmed by the emptiness of his days. He held a single bamboo stick in his hands, staring out into the distance with hollow, sad eyes, occasionally looking up toward the sky to let out a silent cry of frustration. His mouth would open in a wordless plea for a different life, a life where he could roam and run through endless green forests without walls, but the hard stone cave around him never changed. In the final moments of the day, Bao sat directly among the thick bamboo shoots, pulling them close to his chest as if trying to hide himself completely from the world. He chewed slowly, his gaze fixed permanently on the ground, while high above him, Pip lay silently on his log with his eyes closed, dreaming of a home he might never see again. They were two beautiful creatures, surrounded by the very green that defined their existence, yet completely trapped within it. They had everything they needed to survive, but nothing that truly made them feel alive, and as the darkness settled in, their quiet sanctuary became nothing more than a beautiful, lonely cage of memories.